Welcome back. College football week 2 videos. A great game. The Oregon Ducks, off a massive blowout, traveled to Lubbock. Texas Tech, so much promise this year. What do? They drop a game as a huge favorite going to Wyoming. So let's take a look at this matchup. Now, it's easy to say, oh my gosh, Oregon looked great. They put up 729 yards. They were plus 529 yards against Portland State. Look, Texas Tech got crushed as a big dog. Didn't get crushed, went to overtime, lost in overtime on a 2-point conversion. The one thing I want to remind you folks is do not overreact to this results. Now, I'm going to lean with Oregon, but I'm not overreacting to what happened in week 1. I was on Twitter with Kelly in Vegas, and she asked me what my early look-ahead line was this game. And I said 6 or 6.5, and it opened right where it was. Now, I want to point out a couple things. Oregon emptied the bench early last week. Again, they crushed Portland State. They should have crushed Portland State. They did crush Portland State, and they faced no adversity. In Texas Tech, you have a team that went up to Wyoming as a big favorite. They were +1 turnover, and they had a 431 to 320 yard edge, but just could not get those big plays to go over the hump. Tyler Shuck, again, a multi-year quarterback who's been in the system. He was actually an Oregon quarterback when he was young. Completed 66% of his passes, but for a 7.2 YPA, a short YPA, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, we don't think of Texas Tech as a running team, but if you can only rush for under 100 yards and 2.8 yards per carry at Wyoming, that's going to cause trouble against Oregon. Oregon is a team. Again, last year, we know what they did. You know, we're talking about a very, very established team, 10 wins, 3 losses, 16 returning starters. That's the most they've had since the 2019 season when they had 10 on offense, 3 on defense. On deck, who has the edge? That is Oregon. Oregon back at home against Hawaii. Actually, it's a toss-up. Texas Tech hosts Tarleton State before they go on the road to West Virginia. But when I look at Texas Tech's O-line, and despite them having played Wyoming and not having a huge amount of balance, it's a situation where the Oregon D-line, I think, will be able to get pressure, especially if you don't have to look to face the run. Now, I made this line 6.5, but I still do like the situation for Oregon. I got a couple stats here. Let me go to my database, guys, and give you some numbers that I pulled up. First off, people don't think about how tough it is to go play at Wyoming and then play with no rest the next game. Since 2016, remember, Wyoming is the highest elevated football field there is. It's over 7,000 feet. When teams play at Wyoming and then play the next week with no rest, and let's eliminate big favorites of 2 touchdowns or more, those teams have only gone 6-20 against the spread. That is 23.1%. It makes perfect sense. You were in a tough game. You were in an overtime game when you ran 15 extra plays in overtime. You're now traveling with no rest. You are excited. This is your home opener. You are sold out. But when we look at Oregon, let's look at teams that have scored 80 points or more. Those teams have actually gone 56.4% the next game. So a couple positive situations. I have Oregon 10 to 11 points better. I have the situation with the O-line edge, the D-line edge. I have the better quarterback who has a game under his belt where he has some experience. To me, I'm going to lean Oregon. This game will not make my card. I also lean Oregon first half as they tend to jump out and get a big jump on their poise. So color me the Ducks first half. Color me the Ducks the full game. Oregon takes this one and does eke out an ATS cover in Lubbock. A ton of great videos across the board from everyone at Wager Talk. Make sure you guys start tuning in to all these videos each and every week. You'll be glad you did.